你好，我叫 Audrey. 我学中文. I'm Audrey. I'm a freshman here at Hope. I'm from Zionsville, Indiana, and I'm planning on majoring in sociology and minoring in Chinese. I chose Chinese actually in high school because I started off in French and was really bad at French and still needed some credits, and Chinese was one of the options, and I thought it'd be super cool to speak a language that not many people know. Yeah, I took a entry-level test that my professor recommended, and I got placed into a 200 level class, so not quite the beginner level, and it was a really good fit for me. It was a challenge, but it wasn't too hard, it wasn't too easy, and I've grown a lot through it. I think Chinese, from being an English native speaker, is just kind of a whole other world. So I think the language itself holds a lot of difficulties just because it's so different, but what I really like about the program here is it's small enough that the head of the Chinese department is my professor, and you get a lot of one-on-one time and you grow really close with your classmates, and so we all kind of bounce feedback off of each other, and it's a really cool communal learning experience. Actually, studying Chinese gave me the opportunity to go abroad to China a couple of years ago, and that kind of opened my worldview immensely, especially still being in high school. I got to go to China, I got to actually speak the language with them, and that was amazing, and I'm actually a Phelps Scholar now because of it, just because it opened my interests so wide to the rest of the world. So I think China and the Chinese culture is just something so interesting that not a lot of people have tapped into. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with my life yet, only a freshman, but I would love to be fluent. I think just to be able to have that mastery of the language would be such a huge achievement, especially for myself, just kind of that's a goal that I've set for myself. I think it'd be really fun to do some translating, maybe teach English someday. I think that would be pretty cool, but my goal right now that I've set for myself is just to be fluent. I think that'd be a huge achievement and kind of a really cool leg up that I don't think a lot of people have. So I think it'd be really fun just to be able to speak fluently. I've talked to a few different professors about that, and they say there's lots of translating opportunities, especially with sociology. There's quite a bit to do with social work as well. And China's growing as such a vast presence in the globalized world now that it's a really handy skill to have going out into the real world. There is quite a handful of Chinese students that do live on campus, and 2 or 3 of them are actually my TAs for the class, and they are native speakers. They're from China, so it's really cool. They offer a lot of culture insight as well as language insight, because not everything is what you read off of a textbook. There's going to be different tips and tricks and little sayings and stuff that you won't learn out of a textbook. So I think by having these native speaker TAs that are students as well, I mean, they're going through everything we're going through, it just kind of gives you another level of understanding that I think is pretty unique. Like I said, the class size is pretty small, so you get a lot of one-on-one help that I don't think you could really get in a lot of other places. It's a small but really successful program here. So I've talked to quite a different number of people about studying abroad and just kind of how accessible it is and kind of a little strategic planning with that in terms of classes and credits and whatnot. I'd love to go back to China. Where in China, I'm not really sure. I love the city of Xi'an, is where I went a couple of years ago, was one of my stops. Absolutely loved it. The culture was amazing, people were great. So I think it'd be super fun to revisit Xi'an a little bit. But I'm not too super set on a location. I'm just kind of waiting to see where life takes me. But I think it'd be super, super fun to go back to China and be able to use my skill set a lot more than I did back then. I'm thinking my junior year. Like I said, I don't have anything set in stone yet, but junior year seems like it'll be the best time for me. I think it's just kind of how the language is so different from English. It's just a totally different beast. Like, everything is different over there. The people were so friendly and welcoming that it was kind of like a home away from home in a weird way, of that I didn't know what was going on a lot of the time because I didn't have much of the language under my belt, but it was just a very fun place to be. Xi'an, the place that I would really love to go back to, they have a really cool blend of Muslim and Asian culture, which I think is pretty unique, or something that I've certainly never seen here in the US. So it's just kind of the Asian culture, but also a blend of different global cultures within that Asian culture is something that I've never seen before, and I just think it's something super unique and would love to kind of immerse myself in that.